I don't want to go over the derby again particularly, but I would like to know the learnings you've taken into training this week from it, the priorities you've given this week after it.
That we need to be better than we were in the first half.
What aspects?
That our levels of commitment and bravery, especially in possession, need to be a bit higher. And it can be explained by a load of factors. I think I asked the players, Finn Azaz, how many times have you passed the ball to Tom Fellows in a game situation? 0. How many times has Flynn Down passed the balls to Finn Azaz in a game situation? 0. So it's there are things that we can understand that we can put into perspective a bit. But we also want people that are brave and want to get on the ball and want to do well for the team and that aren't scared to hide. And we were a bit passive in that first half. I think we managed to correct it in a way in the second half, but again we were sort of playing catch up because we wanted to put things right and do well, and it was almost a bit sort of too much at times. But I think everyone was just frustrated with it. I think the first half, with the long injury breaks that there were and the number of fouls and throw-ins and corners and goal kicks, it was a frustrating day. It was a frustrating derby, I think, sort of all round. And we know that we didn't hit the levels that we had to hit. We're well aware of that, and we just need to keep growing, keep sort of moving forward, keep working. But again, Rome wasn't built in a day, and Rome wasn't built on sliding grounds or a load of rubble, which is what last season has done here. So we're picking people back up, we're building things where it looks a bit messy at times and everything's not right, but I think we're all fully aware of that. But there's also a sense of of calm and clarity as to where we want to go and where we want to be. But that takes a bit of time.
It's also not built on players coming back different days from international breaks and so on and so on. I mean, it wasn't exactly an ideal build-up to any game, never mind a derby. I've been speaking to Ryan Fraser, and I said to him, and he sort of agreed that it just feels like you're an action or a couple of moments away from the team relaxing and playing and pushing on. Like it just feels like you need something in a game to go your way or whatever that will make everyone relax and play.
Yeah, but I think that's the sort of story of the start of the season. We've got all the stats look really good, and we've got a load of possession and we've got a load of XG or whatever they call it. But it's been frustrating in a way that Armour probably should have scored 2 or 3 goals, and he's that's frustrating for us and it's frustrating for him. We've conceded a few pens and a few dodgy goals, and it's just sort of on an edge of what way it goes, and we just need to make sure that leans into our favour and that we do everything that we can to get those sort of lucky moments in a game, or those sort of 50-50 moments that can fall for us. But there's only one way of doing that, is you create your own luck, you create your own sort of fortune, and we need to do that, and we need to keep working on it. But it does feel like we're not quite there yet, and we're not quite it's not quite clicking. I think we can see that, we can feel it, and there's no point hiding behind it or finding excuses. We just need to keep working. And we've talked about it. We've said a few things. But as a whole, we've had a meeting this week about who we actually are, where we're actually at, and we know there's a level of expectation, but we can't just think that we're gonna steamroll the league and it be easy every game because we've done it before. Even when it's been done before, it was never a steamroll, or it was never as easy as it looks. So we need to be well aware of who we are, where we're at as a team and as individuals, and just keep working on that.
Just on playing styles and forwards, it's interesting for me seeing your last opponent and your next opponent playing potentially the same formation as you, both with 6-foot-plus-inch battering rams up front, and you play it a different way. So how do you get the best out of, say, a Cameron Archer when you're playing in that 4-2-3-1? Because it can't be by knocking long balls up to his head.
No, just for clarity, the game plan wasn't to smash long balls to Cameron Archer. We wanted to stretch their block because we knew they step forward and they're quite intense with that. sort of 4-2-4, 4-2-3-1 formation. So we wanted to stretch their block, and for the first 5-10 minutes do that. And once we'd done that, we'd have created space in between, which we had done, but we then sort of refused to use that space, or didn't use it very well. And we know we can't. I'm not stupid. I'm not blind, and I know we can't smash it long to Cam, because that's just not what suits him. We need to find players either in between or outside that can thread it and that are capable of picking up and playing forward and looking forward, because his movement's good. But it's the same for all of them. Whether that be Armour, Damien, Roscoe, they're all good at sort of peeling off and getting in behind. So again, we're working on it. We wanna create overloads in certain areas, and we want to be able to play through and then sort of in behind and get people facing goal quickly. But yeah, we're working on it.
Oh, like you, new manager, finding their way. They scored goals, but they've also shipped quite a few. Do you envisage Saturday being quite an open game because of that?
I hope it's a better game than last week. Yeah, I'm hoping it will be an open game. I think we're actually regardless of conditions, we've done well to keep a clean sheet. We've defended our box when we needed to, and that was we'd been working on that a lot. So that was a start, but you've sort of overcompensated. We've done that a lot, and then it's about getting that balance right. But no, hopefully, they have a right go, and we deal with their danger and are able to play the way we want to play as well. Because I think everyone enjoys watching football when it's played like that, and not when it's a bit scrappy and a bit stop-start. But yeah, it is what it is.
Just a couple more if I can. How big or difficult spell is this to manage? You've got 4 games in 11 days in 4 different cities. It's not logistically easy, so therefore it can't be easy for players or you to just keep moving, going, travelling, getting. It's a difficult spell, isn't it, to get through?
I haven't really thought about it, to be honest. I think we just need to get on with it and try and win as many games as we can. I think after the Sheffield game, we will sort of stay up north and have a few days together, because that's also needed. But everyone's got the same schedule. Everyone's got a few weeks or a few months in the season where it's like travel, and get on with it. So that's just what we'll do. Just get on with it.
But I presume you won't. Will you think about your Liverpool team before you select a team for Hull, or do you get Hull 100% out of the way and then worry about it?
Yeah, you look at Hull. Liverpool's not important right now. We know it's there. We know what it looks like and what it means. But the sole and only priority is Hull on Saturday.
Just a final one for me. To learn technically, as a non-football person, your side likes taking quite a lot of out-swinging corners. Now, someone my age goes, well, most corners are swung in because it's more dangerous. Why has that changed? Why out-swinging corners seemed as favourable possibly as in-swingers always have been?
It's all about the angle of delivery. It's easier to head it. So if it's coming towards you, it's easier to get power onto the header. Whilst if it's running away from you, you're sort of always leaning into it. I know it looks like it creates more danger. And both can be dangerous, but you just need to get the quality of delivery right, and then the quality or the timing of the runs right.
You scored up a couple already.
Yeah, but it's all about it's literally the angle that's easier to stick your head on.
That's it.
Nice one, cheers well. Obviously everyone was disappointed on Sunday, but I think by about 9-10 o'clock that evening I had a sort of sudden pang of optimism for some reason about the next couple of weeks, how many games you've got to play. I mean, how different do you think your team can look this weekend, next week to what we saw on Sunday?
Hopefully a lot. I think, we'd had sort of 48 hours. We'd had the Thursday session where we hadn't done a lot because you're sort of 2 days after games for a lot of them, and then 2 days before a game for us. And then you have a sort of a quick session on the Saturday before the game, but you don't sort of really have time. You can explain it on a video or you can show it on a board, but it doesn't feel the same. And I think we've had a full week this week where we've been through a lot, and I know it's a lot of information for them to sort of grasp and get hold of and move forward with. But there's only one way that you get things right. It's by repeating it and doing it again and correcting when it isn't right. But we just haven't had time to do that. And I've been asked, why don't you just play all the new players and get rid of the dead wood? It's like, it's not dead wood. There are some very good players. They're just in a process of sort of recovering from stuff and moving forward and learning a new way of doing things, because it is a new way. And I'll give you an example. I stopped a session the other day because we've lost the ball playing short, and you ask the question, where's the space? And they all say, it's over there. I say, why don't you play it? Oh, am I allowed to? And it's like, yeah, you're allowed to. So you're still getting out of old habits, and I know it sounds ridiculous, but that is the reality of what we're doing. So yeah, hopefully we can sort of move on quickly and build quickly and look like a much better team than we did in the first half the other day. But I thought, again, the second half, when I watched it back, it wasn't perfect, and our last pass and our last decision wasn't good. But the game as a whole wasn't very good. So hopefully this game on Saturday looks a lot different, feels a lot different, and we can build on that.
Just in terms of the league games alone, that 45 minutes in the first half against Watford, would you agree that that's sort of the best your team has looked? And if you do agree, why was that? What was different about it?
The occupation of space, the intensity of everything that we were doing. So whether that be with ball in possession, creating space for someone else with a run, the tidiness of the technicality bits of it. We didn't. I think if you compare the two, compare the first half on Saturday or on Sunday, we're sort of smashing the ball at each other from sort of 10 yards, and it's difficult touch, and it's not quite into his right, and that's the detail of the game that we talk about. It's like, make it easy for you, whoever you're passing the ball to. He's going in that direction, so make sure we're playing it onto that foot and he can do something with it. And we didn't do that on Sunday at all. And that's what we did get right in Watford. And then defensively, we were structured, we were aware, and on the one moment where we're not aware and we're not looking at what's going on around us and not closing off the right spaces, we've been punished with their equaliser, which was annoying. And that's what I meant after the game. You've made nothing of a mistake, and you've just been, you've conceded a goal straight away. But I think it goes back to what you were saying, Adam. Of that's just where we're at. It's not, we're not quite doing enough for it to click and get into a flow of things. Just where we're at.
Do you feel that pressure to turn those draws into wins now? Do you feel like it has to happen now, or just in terms of competition, how many points you need to finish in the top 2 or 3 or 4?
I think it's only pressure for myself. I just want to win. I'm bored of drawing games and sort of afterwards going, oh, that was, could have done this better, could have done that better. I think, we just need to keep looking forward and staying positive as well, because there's a thing, where you fall back into old habits of going, not it's happened again, but it's like, God, this is frustrating, and everything being negative. It's like, it's frustrating, but it's not negative. And we need to build on that positivity. Like, just come on. This is possible. We can do it. We are good players, and we are, we can be a good team. So a lot of it is still sort of up there. But no, it's only pressure for myself.
I think at the start of the season, I probably looked at that midfield pairing of Flynn Downs and Shea Charles and thought, that is unbelievable. Top quality for the Championship. Players who have proven in this league. I think on Sunday there was maybe one pass into the final third between them. What's sort of not quite working for them at the moment?
The areas in which they receive the ball, I think they've been used to being played in and just bouncing it back and not turning forward and looking forward, especially Flynn, I think. So it's getting them into areas where they can receive, and when they can receive and actually look forward and not just play a set and keep possession in a really small space. But again, it's like, you're going to quit smoking. It takes a long time. Not that I smoke at all, but you know what I mean. And it's getting out of habits of what you've done for a long time and turning that into something positive and something that we want to do now. But yeah, like I said, it's not just going to happen overnight. And I think I knew, and I said that from the start. I'm not just going to turn up and it'd be really good. So yeah, it's work in progress. I think Kasper came on and did really well. I was really impressed with him. and Flynn, again, we're struggling with his illness levels for the moment. His sort of immune system isn't quite right, so he didn't train today. Didn't feel great yesterday either. Cam's had a sore hamstring yesterday. He should be all right. And Welly's still, working his way back. So it's also, all these players are not always in at the same time and doing the same thing. But, yeah, time will hopefully give us the right answers.
So Cameron Archer's potentially adapt.
I think he should be all right. I think he was sort of back out on the pitch today doing adapted stuff, but he just felt a tight hamstring yesterday, so we didn't want to.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Adam obviously mentioned the fact that the long ball situations he was in, that's not my point. But your team has crossed more than any other team this season in the Championship. We knew that was going to happen because you scored a lot of goals in Lawrence doing that. But we've been dying to see it as well. But is there a challenge there where, your front three is Ryan Fraser, 5'5", Tom Fellows, 5'10", whatever it is, Cameron Archer, 5'9". Like, how do you turn those situations into goals?
It's getting the cross right, and it probably needs an extra pass. Like, we're crossing it from quite deep instead of getting it into an area where maybe a cutback is possible or just a hard ball across the ground. So it's like the type of delivery and the type of cross that we want to set in, but it's also that question of not taking everything literally. Like, we said we want to get the ball into the box and we want to work it into areas where we can get it into the box, but it's not the first opportunity to do that isn't always the right one. But again, you say get it in the box. Okay, I'll just get it in the box. It's like, okay, we've got into this area now. What's the next bit, and how do you get into that bit? And yeah, I think the answer is making sure we're delivering the type of cross that Cameron Archer, Weeman, Tom Fellows, Adam Armstrong can get on the end of, because that's a high priority.
Well, just to go back to Kasper Jander, I know you touched on him briefly there. How much can he change that midfield dynamic? From the clips I saw of him, he likes to spray the ball out wide, which I feel like is something you want from real midfielders.
Kasper's really clever. He sees the game really early and really, really quickly. I think what's impressed me the most is the way he actually wins the ball back without, causing a big fuss. He just sort of steals it, and then he's able to turn forward and play forward. And he's very aware of what's going on around him, so he's quite good at keeping balance and balancing out. If Shea's gone and has made a forward run, he picks up the information of what's going on around him, which is really interesting. And then technically he's a step ahead of a lot of players. In that he can receive under pressure, he can make a quick turn or a sharp turn out of a tricky situation. So it'll definitely help us. But again, he's literally never passed the ball to any of those players before the sort of last 25 minutes on Sunday.
We've seen a fair few players coming in from Germany, and there was growing pains for Damien Downs and Joshua Kwashi early on, but can it be easier for them when they've got lads who speak their language, lads who sort of know their backgrounds as well, and off the pitch it makes their life a bit easier, so when they come to training it might be easier for them as well?
I think inevitably it does, because they've got, at the start it was sort of Josh and Damien just talking German to each other and us working them into the squad. But now there's a couple more of them, and they can sort of, it makes it easier in a way, because you're not working with just sort of two individuals. There's a whole group of them, and then a group meets another group. I'm getting too deep here, but you know what I mean. It should make it easier.